Eve is with an injured Rebecca, who knows more about the time ripples than she lets on. She tells Eve that her husband and Isaiah are the same people. It turns out that the kid is about to walk into a time ripple and land in 1988. Then, he will be adopted and eventually grow up to become Gavin. However, Silas is trying to stop Isaiah from doing so because he wants his grandson to himself. If Isaiah fails to walk through that ripple, Gavin in the future will never exist. This means that Eve will never meet him and her children will never be born. She urgently has to take Isaiah away from Silas and to a time hole in Topanga. Far from the camp, Scott is smoking to relieve his anxiety. Suddenly, he sees a cow walking towards him. The animal could be a useful asset to the survivors, but he freezes in shock and lets it get away. When he tells the survivors about it, they do not believe him. Just then, Levy returns to the camp to get Sam because Rebecca is in need of a modern doctor. They arrive at the fort and get to helping the sick. Eve also finds out that Silas and Isaiah are not natives of their tribe. They arrived here a few years ago, claiming that they fell through a ripple. Para had no reason not to believe them, so she took them in. Rebecca finally gets out of danger. She is asked how she knows about Gavin and Isaiah, but she refrains from telling them the whole story. Instead, she insists that they do not have much time. The ripple to 1988 will close in less than a day. Taking her advice, they separate into groups and go on a search. Para and Ty decide to go on foot while Josh, Eve, and Levy take the jeep. Meanwhile, Isaiah is with Silas inside a cave. He is horrified that his grandfather hurt Rebecca and wants to return back to the village. Silas says he is doing everything for Isaiah and orders him to stay put. In the camp, Lily looks at Veronica sitting alone and feels bad for her. She knows that the girl is not a bad person. They talk for a while before Lily tells her that the sinkhole might be their chance to start a new free life. At the same time, Scott wants to go look for the cow he saw earlier, but no one is willing to join him. Veronica used to live on a farm, hence, she offers help. Scott is uncomfortable with a kidnapper being his teammate, but on the journey, he finds out she is not that bad of a person. They eventually find the cow and bring it back to the people. Because of the gesture, Scott is proven to be someone more than a stoner, and people start to trust Veronica. Somewhere else, Eve's group finds the cave and discovers that Silas is nearby. Josh goes down another path on the jeep. He comes across Isaiah, about to be attacked by a saber-tooth. He saves the kid in the nick of time and brings him to Eve and Levy. The group then makes its way to Topanga. What they do not know is that Silas is watching them, waiting to attack and get his grandson back. Para and Ty find his tracks alongside 5 more people. Para thinks that Silas's close friends from the tribe are helping him look for Isaiah. Suddenly, Ty gets a nosebleed and tells Para about his brain tumor. Upon finding out that he is about to die, she kisses him. Meanwhile, in the future, Gavin also figures out that he and Isaiah are the same people. As they discuss the theory, they are approached by Ella, asking them to get off her property. Gavin begs her to listen to them, because the life of his family depends on her. Ella agrees, but when she is told about the sinkhole, she refuses to believe them. It turns out that she had also been getting flashes of the past since the sinkhole appeared last week. It is strange to Gavin, because he has been having the same flashes since his accident a long time ago. Like Isaiah and Gavin are related, Ella and Lily are also the same people. Isaiah entered the past 3 years ago, which is when Gavin started his vision. For Ella, it started a week ago, because that is when Lily entered the past. It all makes sense to Gavin, but Ella refuses to get involved. A while later, Gavin thinks of a way to get her on their side. He goes to the archaeological site, where the letter in the plane crash were found. Then, he steals a stone with a drawing on it. Ella has seen this in her visions and painted it as an art project. Hence, he believes the stone will make her believe them. In the meantime, Rebecca recovers and finds an important diary under Silas's bed. She has to give the diary to Lily in the camp. She yet again refuses to reveal what the reason is, but Sam agrees to take her to the camp nonetheless. Sometime later, Eve, Levy, Josh, and Isaiah reach a ravine and have to cross a dangerous bridge to reach the other side. Eve and the kid go first, but as soon as they make it to the other end, Silas arrives with his people. They take Josh and Levy hostage, threatening Eve with their life. Before she makes a rash decision, Levy cuts the rope. Silas then orders Eve to bring Isaiah to the north where the ravine ends. If she doesn't hand over the kid, her son and Levy will be killed. Back in the present, Gavin goes to Ella again and shows her the stone. It is the same one that she painted a few days ago, and the one she saw in her visions. Then, we see Lily looking at the stone in the past, confirming that she and Ella are the same people. Para and Ty meet Eve and Isaiah in the woods. They need more people to fight against Silas and his men. Ty and Para decide to go to the camp to ask for help. In the meantime, Rebecca and Sam also reach the camp. Rebecca tells everyone about the ripple in Topanga that leads to 1988. It is the group's only way to enter a life similar to the one they led before the sinkhole. Some of them decide to go through the hole and start a new life, while the others want to wait for a ripple that leads them to their home. When asked how she knows so much about the ripples, Rebecca replies that it is because she created them. She and a group of scientists, including Silas, are responsible for the unintended time travel. They are both trying to solve the problem they created in their own way. Later, she goes to Lily and hands her a piece of paper from the notebook. She asks her to go to Topanga and give it to Isaiah at all costs. She even promises to send Lily back home if she is successful. The girl then sets off on the journey to do so. She is followed by Veronica, who doesn't want her to go alone, for her safety. However, about an hour into the hike, she steps into a bear trap and is injured. Lily tries her best to help her but is unsuccessful. Hence, she promises to come back with help after giving the page to Isaiah, as she promised. In the future, Ella shows everyone the clothes she was wearing the day she was adopted. The piece of paper is still inside her pocket. Sophia takes a look at it and finds out it is a map of all the ripples that already exist or are about to be formed. Somewhere else, Eve finds Silas and his men with Levi and Josh. If Silas gets impatient, they will kill the two. Not wanting to take the risk, Eve keeps Isaiah in a safe place and goes to Silas. He ties her hands and puts her with her group before sending his people to find where Isaiah is. Ty and Parr arrive at the camp and tell everyone about Josh and Levi being abducted. Sam, Lucas, and Mary Beth join them on a rescue mission. They eventually find Silas's men and land an attack. After a bit of struggle, the group manages to knock out the villains, saving Eve and her group. Suddenly, Josh grows weak in the knees and his entire body starts aching. This is because the ripple has started to close and his existence is at risk. If Isaiah cannot make it through on time, he and Issy will simply cease to exist. Riley, Mary Beth, and Lucas continue the journey to Topanga with Isaiah. In the meantime, Sophie looks at the map closely and finds out that the next sinkhole will appear in Seattle. It can be anywhere in the city, so everyone has to evacuate as quickly as possible. Sophie doesn't have the power to pull this off, so she asks her former work partner David for help. Initially, he is skeptical, but he ultimately agrees to do whatever he can. After rescuing Josh, Eve, and Levi, the group has to follow Isaiah. They decide to take a shorter but more dangerous path to get to him quicker. It runs under a cave and is filled with traps. Then, we see Rebecca approaching Scott, who is still in the camp. She has to reach someplace in the north, but cannot do it on her own because of her injury. Scott refuses to help her until she reveals everything about the time travel and the ripples. Instead, Rebecca promises to show him something incredible if he helps her. Scott takes the bargain, and the two set off for the journey. Somewhere else, the group with Isaiah comes across a man from the tribe. Riley runs away with the kid while Lucas and Mary Beth fight the man. He is eventually shot and killed, but Mary Beth also gets stabbed in the process. A while later, the group reunites. Sam helps Mary Beth to his best, but the wound is very deep. Maribeth and Lucas decide to walk at their own pace, while the others make their way to the cave through a shorter path. Soon, they enter the said cave but find a tar pit inside. The only way one can walk out from the other side is by climbing a ladder on top of the pit. Josh goes first and gets to the other side, followed by Isaiah, but when it is Eve's turn to do the same, the ladder breaks. She almost falls into the pit before her son pulls her outside. After that, Eve and Josh decide to continue with Isaiah on their own, while the others take the longer route. Somewhere else, Lucas sees that Mary Beth is struggling to move forward. She has lost a lot of blood and can no longer walk. He asks her to be strong, but a few minutes later, she passes away. Lucas can do nothing but cry, hugging his mother. In the present time, the map starts to fade for some reason. Ella thinks that this is because Lily wasn't able to get to Isaiah on time with the map. The seismic signals also start to shift away from Seattle, making the entire evacuation pointless. They eventually find a sinkhole in the middle of the woods. It is a lot smaller than the last one, so flying a plane through it is impossible. Still, Gavin is adamant about finding his family. Eve is on her way to Topanga when Silas finds them. He tries to bring the kid away, but Ty arrives with a gun and calms him down. In the end, Silas wishes his grandson a farewell, accepting what fate has in store for him. Eve and Isaiah reach the top of the mountain, where they can walk into the ripple. She promises to meet Isaiah again before he goes in. Josh and Izzy both feel better now that their existence is not at risk. Gavin wants to jump into the sinkhole with Izzy. Ella also wants to join them, because she has seen Rebecca in her visions, and knows that she needs help. In the end, they jump into the sinkhole and enter the world in 10,000 BC. However, they are in ancient Seattle and have to travel to La to meet their family. Gavin confirms that they have entered the right time after they spot a mammoth nearby. Eve and the group are celebrating the win when Lily arrives and asks about Isaiah. Upon finding out that he has already entered the future, she runs to the ripple, desperate to hand the page to him. Suddenly, the green light grows bigger and takes Lillian alongside Josh and Riley. The episode ends when Rebecca and Scott reach a mountain. Scott spots a modern building that turns out to be Rebecca's creation. Subscribe to see more videos like this, turn on the notifications, and leave a like to help the channel grow.